Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for joining us today on The Edge with Deneen Dias. It's my pleasure to have a guest today, John Pace from GRF. He is partner of their outsourced accounting and advisory services practice. John, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks Janine. So as Janine said, I'm John Pace from GRF CPAs and Advisors, located primarily in Bethesda, Maryland. So I run our outsourcing group. We're a team of about 22, 23 people, and just super happy to be here today. So
Thank
thanks for
you.
the opportunity. Yep.
Yeah, well, I've been really looking forward to this conversation because I met you about 5 years ago and started working with you, and always enjoyed talking with you because as you and I have discussed, you're very strategic. And working with leaders over CAS practices, the ones that are truly, truly successful are ones like you that are always working on the business. A lot of partners even are so busy working in the business that they can't take that pause to really think through, what do they want to be like in a year? What do they want to be like in 3 years? And so that's one of the things I think is your real strength. So I'd love for you to share when you came over to the CAS side 5 years ago, what was your goals then? What were your firm's goals for moving you into that position?
Yeah, I think it's a great story because we had one partner in our department already who's absolutely fantastic, highly intelligent, clients loved him. And then I became a partner in 2016, and about a year later, it was pretty clear that I like the strategic stuff, I like the entrepreneurial work, and it was really almost like fate because our skill sets really complemented each other. And so I came in. I've always been a conference junkie. We've had many conversations. We just love to talk shop and things like that. And so I came over, and it was a little overwhelming as a new partner 1 year in to take over a department and sort of start changing vision and leading things. But that's what happened, and I've really relished the role and really enjoyed it, and I love the strategic and entrepreneurial aspects of it. So.
Yeah, it shows. And you need a strong leader that's strategic to continue drive things forward and always be evaluating and changing and trying. And that's definitely you. But one thing I like to sort of brag about for GRF is that you guys have 3 CAS partners. And to me, that's such a big deal because most of the firms that I talk to maybe have half a CAS partner. Maybe we're starting to have one leader driving the CAS practice, but GRF has 3. So shout out to Eleanor, because I know that she's your third, CAS partner. And I'd love to kind of hear from you, why that happened, like where you saw that need and when.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a really good point, and you kind of brought it to my attention. I wasn't really thinking about it that much, but at the end of the day, I think you have to give credit to the existing leadership at GRF. I mean, one of the reasons that I've been here 16 years is we've been a forward-thinking, progressive firm since day one. I mean, I'll tell anybody that asks that I started in 2005, and my plan was to do 2 years and get out of there. But I came in and I loved it. And so the leadership of the firm believes in advisory, believes in diversifying the work that we do, and also we have we're very lucky. We have a deep talent bench, and when someone like me or someone like Eleanor steps up and they're ready to be partner, we make them a partner. And Eleanor became partner January 1st, 2019, and she had an amazing year last year. She showed, just over and over again why she deserved a seat at the table, and and so that's an example of how we're able. One of the reasons we're able to grow is because we can show our people that we walk the walk. This isn't just talk. So
yeah,
so it's a credit to our leadership, really, and our managing partner and executive committee.
Well, and it has to come from the top. The leadership really needs to see that this is a big part of the future of the firm. And most firms that I talk to say, oh, we've got 5 audit partners and 4 tax partners and half of a CAS partner, but CAS is our future. I'm like, well, then you need, as you grow, you need to also grow that leadership. And also, I want to, please tell her I said hi. Also tell her I said congratulations, because I understand that she's the new chair of CPA.com's digital conference.
Yeah.
And she's a great voice, to help
Yeah.
that conference continue to evolve and grow. I'm sure it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, and one thought that I had too is based on your point too. I mean, if you're trying to grow a practice and you need some buy-in, I think having a managing partner go to the CPA.com CAS workshop is something that's invaluable, because you can start to see what is required to do this and do this well. And so that may be a takeaway for folks if you're trying to get more buy-in from your leadership.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I know you've sent, I know you've sent several people from your firm to that workshop.
mhm,
And normally the CPA.com Digital Client Advisory Services workshop, it's like partners or people that are leading, this new part of the practice would come to the workshop, but then they go back to the firm and they have all these
mhm,
ideas and the firm doesn't understand, because it really is a little bit different than I think most firms are thinking as you're building CAS. And how do you price for success? How do you staff for success? How do you have engagement letters that embrace cloud technology? How do you build
mhm.
your tech stack? And so the leaders would go back, and the not everybody wasn't on the same page. So having you continuously send your talent to that workshop show the investment not only in them, but then allowing them to come back and continue to bring ideas to you, because now
Yeah,
everybody's marching the same direction.
yeah, that's true. I would agree
Well,
with
and
you.
I love your idea of sending the managing partners there too. So not to do too much of a shout out to CPA.com, but they have a benchmark survey that they're launching at some point this year. And that's really what that's geared around, is having the manager partner and then a partner of CAS take this survey to see where there's synergies and where there's disconnects.
Yeah.
So have you heard about that? I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I've definitely participated in that survey. I don't have all the answers to the questions, but at the end of it, like most of us that are
New,
doing
it's
this,
still new.
there's some stuff that we're like, I don't know, we're just guessing here. And
Yeah,
that's part of this. There's some experimentation here, so
yeah.
for sure.
Well,
Yep.
so going back to some of the successes and the growth that you've had, and you mentioned that GRF has always had a CAS practice, but when I work with firms, I normally hear, 1 year looks very different than year 3, looks very different than year 5, because you've learned a lot and you're revisiting some of your decisions. And so, technology is evolving and you're embracing some of these changes. And so
Mhm.
I'd love to hear from you about the 5 years that you've been here. Like, what are some of those trajectory points that you saw a shift
Yeah.
happening in what you're
Yeah,
building?
it's interesting because we have a slightly different history, because we've been doing this for quite a while, and it's obviously evolved over the last 20-25 years. But and so I think we've kind of made the switch from a service center, servicing back in the olden days, sort of servicing audit clients before, Sarbanes-Oxley and things like that, helping clean up tax clients and things like that. So we were doing accounting work, but now it was sort of for other departments. Now we're doing work for our own department, and we've arrived. And so, in the last, I don't know, it's not since I just took over, but even in the past, so the last 10 years or so, we've been clearly our own department. And a couple of things that, for me have really triggered that is, the emergence of these cloud-based tools have made us much more able to do this work from anywhere. And that's what I believe in at this stage. Like my mantra is that I'm 100% in virtual outsourced accounting, virtual CFO model. And so, there's some technology shifts that happen there, of course, QuickBooks Online, starting with maybe the QuickBooks Accountant version, going back and forth. Bill.com was huge for us. Sage Intacct is huge for us. So those things, those to me are like the huge differentiators that have really made an impact for us. But we've been able to hone our craft over 20 years instead of just 5, if that
Yeah,
makes any sense. And
yeah,
but a couple of the things that we really did in the last 5 years, we set up walls. This is our tech stack. This is the software we're supporting. We don't share staff. That's non-negotiable. We, the OAS department, our partners, we set our own destiny. We're in charge of the work that comes to us. We're the ones that make the decisions. And that is a very fortunate place to be. And I know people listening probably wish, ooh, I wish I had that. Instead, you have partners from other departments potentially, making your life difficult. So those are some of the ways. Continue to specialize, continue to refine our niche, refine our tools, and hiring the best people that we can. Try to hire ahead, try to anticipate what's coming. Easier said than done, I realize, but those are, I think, in a nutshell, maybe those are the big things that we did in the last 5 years, and I'm sure I've missed some things. But
No, I mean, I think, when you say, I believe, just like you do, that the cloud was the game changer, right? The cloud, being able to have your clients' data real time is a big game changer to how you can operate this business, and you can be virtual. And then being able to do more for your clients than just bookkeeping and things like adding bill pay, right? Because businesses, paying bills is a pain for businesses. They want help with it. Traditionally, firms are like, nope, we don't pay bills. But when
right.
you have new technology like bill.com that makes it easy for the firm to help the client digitize the bill pay for the business, that can be a nice revenue source for firms, is being able to start helping clients pay bills. And so
Yeah.
as you start adding technology like that, and then Sage Intech that allows you to go up market and really service larger clients that need help with outsourcing, then you're going to see more growth too. And so I love how you are talking about how the technology was a big piece in shifting this part of the practice, that you've already had, but really you've seen be a game changer for you in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that growth though,
Yeah.
from a client perspective, revenue perspective, staffing perspective? Share with us sort of your growth journey, and where you've been and where you're going.
Yeah, definitely. In the last 5 years, I think when I took over, we had seven or eight people, and now we're about 23. I need to hire a few more. I have offers going out to 2 people this week. So,
Wow.
um, so that's exciting for me. More troops is always good. And so we've definitely doubled in size, and more than doubled in size in people, but that's about where we are. And the thing is, our philosophy has been, and continues to be, that reputation is everything. And our niche is not for profit, professional service, government contractors. And we really have made it a point to maintain the quality of the work that we do. And so because of that, we have to manage our growth, and we have to make sure we're staffed appropriately, trained appropriately, because we need to deliver on our promises. Because I'm not in this to get a client and then lose them a year later. I'm not in that for this. So we need to be, our firm has worked so hard in these industries to be considered the cream of the crop. And I'm not about to come in here and change that. So that's our philosophy, and quite frankly, one of the reasons that we're obviously adding Botkeeper and other technology tools is to help us really scale and maintain quality, and so that we can continue to say, with an honest face, that we will come in here and we will do an amazing job. We will exceed your expectations, and we will communicate with you, and you'll feel like you're our only client. That's sort of that's what we're after.
Yeah. So you're saying you want to grow smartly.
Yeah.
I think you don't want to take on any client. You're pretty selective about the clients that you're taking on. And it sounds like you want to be known as the expert in certain verticals. And that's a challenge for a lot of the traditional firms, because a lot of them are saying we can't specialize, we have to be generalists, because we're getting leads from our tax partners. And the fact that you separated from tax and you're building your own practice and you're going after the clients that you want, that is powerful, but it's hard. So how did you get there?
Well, and it's hard even for someone like me, because I have a group of intelligent people. I've always said, up until even relatively recently, that I'm educated. I took training. I've been trained to adapt to different situations. So I was almost felt like the idea of specializing is meaning that I can't do something, which is not true. So I had to get myself out of that mindset. And once I did that, it's like, yes, you can turn away clients, you can turn away work, and it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's a question of, should you do it? And so what is in the best effort, what's in the best interest for the firm? What else could you be doing with that time? And so I came to that conclusion a while ago, and embraced it wholeheartedly, that it's not an indictment of my intelligence or anyone else's. So it is hard to make that commitment, and especially hard if you're trying to build a practice and someone comes to you and says, how about this restaurant client?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, go see Dixie McCurley. That's what I'm going to do all day
Yeah.
long.
Right.
And
That's,
but
I believe in givers gain. If you give to the experts, then they're going to give to you too, right? And
yeah,
if you know your space and you know what you do well, don't step outside of that. Keep the focus, keep that ball rolling in the area that you want to focus on, because that's where you're going to win, because you are the expert in that space. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's sort of our philosophy. So
Well,
yeah.
so now let's shift to talent, because you
Mhm.
said, you're wanting to recruit top talent. And I think from talking with you, you're doing a great job with recruitment. I mean, you reached out to me and said, I'm hiring. I see on LinkedIn you're saying I'm hiring. But how are you pulling the best from tax and audit? You've got a nice strategy around that. So I'd love for you to share.
Yeah, there's a couple tools that we use. So I think one of the things that I try to do, and admittedly we got away from it a little bit into 2020 when there was uncertainty around COVID. But normally and back to it now, but I'm always looking. I always have my eyes open. And that's one thing where you go back to our leadership that's empowered us to say, it's so hard to find people. When you find talent, it doesn't matter if you don't have a spot for them, you make a spot. And so we're empowered to do that, and that isn't something that you see every day. So GRF is pretty good infrastructure wise. We have an HR team and a recruiter team, right? So they're hitting all the college fairs, and they're helping me, when we need to find people. We use external recruiters. As you saw, like we'll go after people on LinkedIn. I've always got my eyes open. If I'm at a restaurant, someone starts talking about accounting, my head goes like this. My wife is just smacking me. It's like, so my ears perk. So it's about staying aware of your situation. I think keeping in touch with people. I've done that many times where
Yeah.
I've identified that I want to work with you, and I'm going to bide my time over the next 2 and 3 years, and we're going to make it happen. And I've done it. And
Right.
and that's something that we're doing this week.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
so
Yeah,
it's always look.
relationships. But aside
Yeah.
from that, I mean, you and I've talked about this, and I think, you know, truthfully, people don't come out of college saying, I want to be a bookkeeper,
Right.
right? People normally come out of college and say, oh, I want to go into audit, I want to go into
Mhm.
tax. That's changing. And, bookkeeping hasn't been the sexy place to be, because it was really a means to the end to get the tax return done. It was very manual. That's all
Mhm.
changed now, where this talent are really helping businesses grow, are really advising and helping businesses. And that's exciting, right? Like having a
Yeah.
seat at the table with this business and watching them just thrive because you're helping them look at that big picture and drive them forward. So how are you, when you say to go to the colleges, like how are you describing that to them to make them want to come be part of
Yeah.
your outsourced team?
A couple thoughts there. Well, basically, also we try not to use the word bookkeeping. That's one of the things, because GRF has, we offer high quality, and we charge commensurate price. So we try to use outsourced accounting. Because I think bookkeeper is almost has a stigma to it as like a
Right.
low level, you're never going to go anywhere type person. So we tried to change the narrative on that. The other thing we've had great success for is what we see is people come out of school, they go to work for an audit firm and they get tired of it for 2 years. And then they go to private, right? And so they're working for two years, and then their resume comes to me. And what do they have? They have the perfect mix of
Perfect.
CPA firm, high paced world. And then
Yep.
they go in and they see the audit side, and then they go in and then they do the day-to-day accounting. And then they decide that they want the best of both worlds, which is outsourced accounting. So we're very fortunate to be in this business because, it's a very compelling case to make to candidates. And so we hired someone that had, somewhere between 4 and 5 years experience, wanted to come back to public, but didn't want to do auditing. So it's a very compelling message, and
I
it
think it is.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. And I, like, to your point, at your firm, there's partner track. in this space, because a lot of firms aren't showing that there's the growth, and you can move up and to be the outsourced controller and outsourced CFO, and you can move up to partner, because I think that's typically what everybody wants when they join a firm is to become a partner, and you're showing your talent that there is a trajectory here for that.
And it's funny that you say that too, because I'm probably one of the more like, I'm probably one of the outliers here. I have zero problem having a discussion on partner path with a staff or a senior. What does that look like?
Really?
If I see the
Yeah.
spark in you, why wait? There's this trend in the CPA world where it's a big secret and all this stuff. And to me, that doesn't make much sense at all. Because you got to let these people know what the path is, because if you wait too long, they're going to be gone, so anyway, that's just my philosophy. And those that ask questions are rewarded with information, so.
That's great. I love that. That's really great.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things you said is part of your strategy this year is you have started down the Botkeeper path, which we're thrilled, but you're newer to Botkeeper. So what I'd love for you to really share is why, because you and I talked about this, and you had said that leadership tasked you with like 3 things, right, that to look at in this space, and AI was one of them, maybe outsourcing, right, was other, and I forget what the third was, but and I was kind of like, oh, Botkeeper fits all those spots, but just kind of share with me the decision on the why.
Yeah, it did seem to be a nice sort of centering on 3 things, which was AI-based technology, robotic process automation technology, and sort of overseas outsourcing and things. And so I think we found that Botkeeper seemed to be the best blend of all of those things. I love the discussions that we had, and just when we go into deploy, I'll give you real world examples when we're going into deploying clients. And as you said, we're still new to Botkeeper. I'm on the phone with our with our person, Aaron and Kanika,
Yeah.
and I know that like we're having a discussion about accounting. Aaron's a CPA, Kanika's CPA, and so like she understands what we're talking about. So whatever fear you had, because accountants have a lot of fear about trusting someone else to do work, it made me feel great right away, because she's asking all these great questions, and I'm like, this is exactly what we need. You are an extension of our team. You're using tech and people to really. And the thing that I love also too, another plug that you probably don't even know about, Deneen, is that the Botkeeper team has been incredibly flexible. So instead of being rigid in a set of things, Aaron has worked with us, and he's doing things outside the box. We're throwing ideas at him, and he's like, I've never heard of that, but we can try it. So and like I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, because too often people are in a box and it's just hard to get out of.
Yeah. So thank you for that, because that's one of the things that I heard prior to coming here is how much is tech and how much is talent, and firms that are working with us, you don't see the bots. You don't even have to understand RPA. You don't even have to understand really AI. It's easy to just bring us in and you get that with us, but you also get our talent. And that time after time is what I hear from folks like you, is that it's the talent is, and we work really hard at making sure we understand what your goals are and that we align your goals. And our job is to make your job easier, to free you guys up from all of that manual, time-consuming, transactional stuff that's important and has to be right, because you can't do what you guys want to do if the data is not right and if the information isn't right and the reporting isn't right. So our job is to use the bots to get that all right, but you don't talk to the bots. You talk to our talent, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear that you're, as a newer partner of Botkeepers, that you're feeling like we're part of the team, and that we're really wanting to understand your goals and help you really grow.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Good. Well, so is there any questions, Stella? Because I want to watch the time. We've got about 5 minutes left, and this is our time to open it up to the audience and ask John any questions that you have, because he's a great resource that has been there, done that. So he's a good person to ask.
There are currently no questions. If you have a question, please go ahead and put it into the question box.
People are shy.
Yeah. Well, while we wait, what's next?
Good
Mr.
question.
Mr.
What's
Planner.
X?
I
Yeah.
do have a question that just came in.
Okay.
The question is, how have you used Botkeeper specifically in your practice?
Yeah, so what we've done right away is the very first client we onboarded is one that we were having trouble making our fixed fee on. There was a lot of work. And so basically that is the one that we onboarded quickly. You know, our goal was to create leverage and to create margin for that engagement, and it's happening. And so that was the immediate step. The clients, we have a bunch of other clients right now, right in the middle of the scoping process, and so it's the same type of idea there. You know, fixed fee. You know, having a little bit of trouble. Let's push this down to Botkeeper. Let's let them do it. Our team can then come in and help as needed. But you know, once we get there and once we get our initial like 10, 15, 20 clients onboarded, then we will perfect our process and find our secret sauce with the team. And then that's when I think we'll be in a pretty good spot to really start to say, okay, now we can really scale this. So that's very exciting to me. So hopefully that answers.
I appreciate that because it is a change, right?
Mhm.
And it's a change to process. And you do have to test out a couple of clients to really have us understand your process and you understand what we're changing in your process so that you really
Yeah.
reap the benefits of all that we do. And that's any technology. I mean, you and I started talking 5 years ago about Sage Intacct, and you're like, Sage Intacct is hard. It's hard to implement. And I'm like, John, it's
Yeah.
amazing software. But if you
Right.
don't know how to implement the software and take advantage of all the amazing things that you get with these different technologies, then you're not fully getting the benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And then, you know, and so we do think Sage Intacct is an amazing software, and that's a primary focus for me. And I know it's on Botkeeper's list for it's the next GL integration, so it's coming. So I think people are going to be excited about that. So
Yeah.
you know, there's lots of amazing technology out there, and that one, Sage Intacct, just really happens to sort of fit our niches absolutely perfectly. Nonprofit, professional service, it's a slam dunk. So I know Dixie McCurley uses it for restaurants and stuff like that. Another slam dunk, you know. And so, you know, we've adapted the technology to meet our needs. And you know, my vision really is to get our staff just absolutely like, you know, humming along, rinse and repeat, doing the same things over and over again with the best software, so that they can just continue their path towards excellence and, you know, providing high value to our clients. And so I think it's working. We still have work to do. I feel like there's always going to be work to do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
But
So I have another question.
sure.
Do you have any advice for the manager trying to get this started in their firm?
Yeah, I think get as much information as you can, arm yourself. I think that I'm not paid by CPA.com, I promise you, but that CAS workshop is fantastic. I think, you know, anytime you try to do something, I think to the extent that you can write up a plan and try to present it to management, I think that's something that works. It doesn't have to be 100-page with a million charts in it and stuff, but I think if you can outline, so I like to start with an outline. So I think CPA.com is an amazing resource. The digital, one of the reasons I really, gosh, I know that sounds like a plug for CPA.com. It really isn't. One of the reasons that I love the digital conference in early December is because there's this fresh influx of brand new ideas into my brain right at the end of the year when I'm trying to set new goals and stuff. And so hopefully, and I've said that before, so hopefully that's helpful.
Well, and I mean,
One last question.
Okay.
Do you find you need a staff for every 10, 12 clients, and will that number change with Botkeeper?
That number will definitely change with Botkeeper. That's your goal, is to increase your staff to client ratio. And that answer really depends on your niche. You know, nonprofits is a little bit more intensive, so I think, you know, ours could be 6-to-1 or something like that, but it could be 10-to-1. It just really depends. None of all of our clients they're varying complexity. But your goal, I think, should definitely be able to stretch that ratio with Botkeeper. That's mine.
Yeah. We normally hear 1 to 14 clients without Botkeeper, and with Botkeeper, it's a range of 1 to 30, 1 to 50. I talked to a firm this week that said it's 1 to 40 with Botkeeper
That's
right now,
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
So they're adding a lot more. But to your point, there's a range. It depends on the vertical, it depends on the firm, it depends on a couple of things, but definitely the goal is to free you up so that your team can take on more clients capacity. Real quick, digital is my favorite conference of the year. And so I love to hear you say that that's where you learn, because there's people like you. So to that person that's a manager that's trying to build this, if you do go to CPA.com's workshop or you do go to the digital conference, take a leader with you. You need a support. You need a strong leader like John driving this. I've talked to so many managers at firms that drive themselves nuts, and they just ultimately, a lot of them end up quitting because it's like swimming upstream. So you need to get leadership buy-in. And with that, we're at time. John, do you want to let everybody know how they can reach you?
Sure. My email, I think it's probably on the slides, but jpace@grfcpa.com. So feel free to reach out. Also I'm on LinkedIn, so you can always send me a message. But those are the best ways to get a hold of me.
Great. Thank you so much. You're the best. I enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thanks. It was fun. See
All right,
ya.
take care.
Bye. Thanks.